88.
If you injure the Evet Kanani of a neighbor, you're chay. My time, Rabbi Yehuda. Rabbi Yehuda said you don't have to pay an Evet Kanani for boishes. Amr Kroki Natsuan Hashem Yachdav Ish V'Achiv. And then it talks about boishes payment. B'mish yesh lo achvat. Only people who you have brotherhood with. Yotza Evet shein lo achva. There's no, you can't have yichus with a Evet Kanani. So how do the Rabbanan learn that there's boishes? Achivu b'mitzvos. He's your brother because in Evet Kanani performs mitzvos. Elamiyat Rabbi Yehuda zoymei Evet lo yarogu. Now, if someone who tries to say that an Eved was a Rotseach, so according to this pshat, you wouldn't kill those Eidim. Even if he's not your Achiv, there's not going to be punishment for him Zomim. You got to get rid of the evil. The Eidim Zomim were evil, you got to get rid of them. If you're going to say that since an Evet Kanani is Achiv b'mitzvos, so an Evet Kanani could be a king. Yeah, we know it's not this because it says Mikerav achecha tasim alecha melech. So if he's your achecha, he could be a melech. Amri. Forget about the machlokas between Rabbi Yehuda and Rabbanan. Everybody holds that a ger is a full-fledged Jew and is your brother, and yet he cannot be the king because he's not Mikerav achecha. El Amar Krav Mikerav achecha mimuvcha shebachecha. He has to have good yichus. A ger doesn't have good yichus. Elam yatul Rabbanon yei Evet kosher leidus. An Evet would be an aid. Tichsi vinei aid sheker ha'aid sheker hanab ba'achiv. If he's your achiv, he could be an aid. Amar ula edus lamatisam. You can't say that he could be an aid because asya edus b'kavachomer meisha. You can learn out from a kavachomer. My isha she ru'ilava b'kol. A woman can get married. Psula leidus. Yet a woman cannot be an aid. Eved she'ena ru'ilava b'kol. He can't get married. Eno din she'posula edus. You could break the kavachomer by saying mali isha she'kein ena ru'ila mila. You cannot do mila to an isha. Tomer be'evet shuroy mila. An evet can be mila. Cotton yochia. Sheyesh no mila uposel de edus. Cotton you can do mila, but he's posel. Mala cotton sheina b'mitzvahs, but cotton is not chai b'mitzvahs. Tomer be'evet shuroy b'mitzvahs. Isha toichia. Sheyesh no b'mitzvahs upsul edus. V'chazra did. So we have a circular logic. Lo rizek rizek lo rizek rizek. Outside the Shabbat, you have to look at the combination of a cotton and an isha, and an cotton and an evet. Shekein einan b'chol hamitzvah subsun leheid. Einan b'chol hamitzvahs. A woman is not with all mitzvahs because an isha is b'chuyev b'lavin v'oinshin, but not mitzvahs associated as man grumble. And a cotton also is not chayv in mitzvahs. Both are posel le'edus. Afani avid is an evet. Shein b'chol mitzvahs is posel le'ed. Still free to Gemara malat tzara shavish shkein eno ish. Both an isha and a cotton are not considered an ish. Tomer be'evet shu ish, but an evet is an ish. Ella yesh. You bring it like this. Teisi migazla malagazla shkein ma'asav garmulo. Why is he posel le'edus? He did bad acts. However, Eved shein ma'asav garmulo, but an Eved is not a posel le'ed because of his ma'asim. So the combination of a gazlan and an isha, or a gazlan and a cotton, will tell you that an Eved cannot be made. Marbraid Ravina Omar Omar Kraloyum Su Ovis Albani. You cannot be put to death by an aide who doesn't have a yichus, like an Eved's children are not miyuchus after him. That lo yumsu ovis albanim, fathers cannot testify about their children. Be'edish albanim, lichtav rachmanim, lo yumsu ovis albneim. My banim, shmami no shlo yumsu api ovis she'elem chayis banim, which is an Eved. Elameata, it says ubanim lo yumsu alovis. Fathers cannot testify to kill their son. Hachanami lo yumsu al pi banim she'elem chayis avos. So why don't we say the same limud? So ger hachanami posel edus. A ger's father has no chay, he has no yichus with his father. So why should a ger be kosher aid? Amri achiyash, no comparison. Ger ni shein l'chayis l'mayla, l'mata yesh l'chayis. He has no yichus going up towards his parents, but his children are Jews. Lafugi Eved shein l'chayis lo l'mata v'l'mata. And Eved has his parents were goyim and his children are goyim. These are gedaitich ger posel edus. If a ger is going to be posel edus, lichtav rachmana lo yumsu avos abneihem. But we lechadam rinot. But we didn't say that. Lo yumsu be'edus banim. You cannot put to death parents because of their children's testimony. V'nichtav rachmana vanim lo yumsu al avos. Shmami not tarti. We would have learned two halachos. Chadish lo yumsu banim be'edus avos. That fathers couldn't testify about their children. V'idich lo yumsu al pi banim shein lem chayis avos, which is a ger. But Eved nafkele bekavachoymer miger. Then we could have learned the kavachoymer. Ma ger shalamalahu shein l'chayis v'lamata yesh l'chayis. A ger has no yichus above, but yichus below, and yet he's posel le'edus. Eved shein l'chayis lo l'malav lomad. Eved shein posel le'edus. So we don't have that kavachoymer. El mikodas rachmana lo yumsu avos albani mashma lo yumsu pi avos shein l'chayis banim. Which is Eved. Shmami no Eved shein l'chayis lo l'malav l'mata hu sheposel le'edus. Aval ger kiven sheyesh l'chayis l'mata kosher le'edus. Maybe you'll say v'chiteim l'chtav rachmanu vanim lo yumsu avoseim lamali. The kotzah rachmanu vanim lo yumsu alavos, which is mashma lo yumsu api barim shein l'chayis avos. So you can't be medayik that way because it's just stylistic. Adi shekasav lo yumsu avos abanim because of nami vanim lo yumsu alavos, but not to be medayik the way you're trying to be medayik. If you injure them, you have to pay. If they injure you, they're potter. He made Rav Shmuel bar Ava, me agrunya avis naspile Rav Abba. Rav Shmuel's mother married Rav Abba in Agrunya. Kasvinu l'nichse Rav Shmuel bar Ava bra. She wrote that all her assets should go to her son. Basar she died. Yeah, but she's married, so a woman is inherited by her husband. Should we rely on this gift to the son? Azal Rav Shmuel, Bava Kama Daf Rav Yomi, Bava Hukme b'nichse. The son took the nechasim, but Azal Rav Abba, who's the husband, Amar Misa Kama Daf Rav Ushi, Azal Rav Ushi, Amar Kama Daf Rav Yehuda, Amar Le Hachi Amar Shmuel, Ha'isha shemacha b'nichse maluk b'chaye baila. A woman who, when she comes in with fields that belong to her. Her husband is allowed to eat fruit from those trees. Let's say she sold some of that while her husband was still alive, and then she died. So, yeah, she had no right. The husband could take it away from who she sold it to. But I know the Mishnah does not. Person wrote his assets should go to a certain son after his death. But as long as he's alive, the father's going to benefit from the payrolls. The son, even though he's going to get it in the future, he cannot sell it now. They're currently in the possession of the father. Similarly, ksuvin leben. The father can't sell it because it's already been written in a star. It's going to go to the son. If macharav, though machurin, the buyer can eat peiros ad sheyamus, and then it reverts to the son. Macharav ben eino lokech ad sheyamusav. The father gets to eat the nichse malug until his death. Then, if the ben was supposed to get it after his death, he's allowed to sell that. It can go to whoever bought it after the father's death. So kimaisav mia isle lilokeach. So if the father dies, the buyer has it at least temporarily. Avagav shemesa ben b'chayav lost the ben, even though the ben died while the father was still alive, and it never went through the hands of the son. This is all like Reish Lakish. The Omar loishna mesa ben b'chayav shlo asu liyadeh. It makes no difference if the asset was sold while the father was alive, where the asset never actually went through the hands of the son. Loshna abachayav, shemesa abachayav, or it's no different if the father had died when the son did get it, also liyadeh, and a ben kara lokech. In either case, the lokech does acquire it, the itmar. We learned in the following brayso. Machra ben mechayav. A son sells his Yerusha while the father's alive. Umeisa ben bechayav. It never got to the ben because the father was still alive when the ben died. Rav Yochanan lo kana lokech. Rav Yochanan says the lokech doesn't acquire anything. The son never had it in the first place to sell. Reish Lakish amar kana lokech. Rav Yochanan damar lo kana lokech amar locha kik tari mas nisen machra ben lo kana lokech atchem sa'ab. That if the ben sold it while the father's alive, yes, the lokech gets it only after the father dies. And then v'chimaisav isle lokech, then the lokech gets it. But shalom esa ben b'chayav, but if the ben did not die, and therefore never got to the hands of the ben, kimaisav nami lesle, l'lokech. So when the father dies, lokech doesn't have anything because it never got it to the son in the first place. Why? Alma kasover kinyan peiros kinyan guf dami. The father who has the right to eat peiros is like he owns the whole property. So when the son tried to sell it, lavdi de zavin. According to Rav Yochanan, we're kinyan peiros kinyan guf dami. The son didn't sell anything that belonged to him. Reish Lakish amer kana lokech. Why? That if the son sold it while the father's alive, is Yerusha and Lokech Hatshiyam Asaf. Lokech doesn't get it until the father dies. But the Lokech gets it after the father's death. And it's no difference whether the asset got to the ben because the father died while the ben was alive, or the ben died while the father was alive, where it didn't go to the ben. In either case, kan lokech. Rish Lakish obviously holds that just because you have the right to eat peiros doesn't give you the right to own the field. And what the ben sold really belonged to him because it was given to him by Yerusha. V'anan hashta ben Rav Yirmiyah bar ben Rav Yehuda, ki Rav Shrim Svirnu. They both hold like Reish Lakish. V'kam Rav Yirmiyah bar like this. If the right to have peiros is a kinyan, so ki maisav. When the father died, umayitza ben b'chayav, and the father and the son already died, amai isle lokeach. What the ben sold isn't worth anything. He goes of it, alav the day goes of it. He didn't sell anything that belonged to him. Alav shmamina, kinyan peres lav kinyan guftam. So why shouldn't Rav Shmuel get the asset that the mother gave it to him while she was alive? So Adrula Kamei Rav Yehuda. They discussed this in front of Rav Yehuda. Armelo Amar Shmuel. Zu, when we say that the husband can take from lekuchos that the wife sold during his lifetime, is ein adom l'mishnah seinu. It's not the same as a father writing his assets to his child. Why? My time, Amr Rav Yosef, Bishlama Yitani Ibcha HaKoisef Nechosef La'aviv. The person says, my assets should go to my father after my death. And the father sold it while the ben was alive. And then the father dies. And the Mishnah says that the buyer is zoiche in those things that he bought after the son died. You could learn kinyan peres lav kinyan guftani. But elahashta diktani the opposite. No, you wrote your assets to your son. So mishum roy yorshahu. He has another way of getting the asset, which is wait until he inherits it. He already has a certain schus in these assets, and not just because of the shtar that the father wrote the asset to him. And in the case of the mother giving it to Rav Shmuel bar Abba, it's not the son who inherits, it's the husband who inherits. Armele Abaya Otu bro yoris Abba, Abba lo yoris bro. Yeah, but it doesn't make a difference. I understand that his son inherits the father, but a father inherits the son as well. So Ella Lavrochin Lichse Mevreko Asi. The guy wants to keep his assets away from his son. So that's why somebody writes his assets to his father. Here also, and a father who writes a certain asset to his son is because he wants to remove the asset from his other brothers, because he has other sons. Elamai ain't a what does it mean? It's not similar to our Mishnah. Mishum takonas usha. We have a special takana regarding the schus of a Baal in the assets of his wife. Sham Rav Yossi bar Chanina be'usha iskinu ha'isha shemacha b'nisei meluk b'chai bailu u'meisa Baal moitzi miyad lekuchos. They gave a special power to a husband that if the wife sells some of the assets of the nichse meluk while the husband is alive, and then she dies, the husband can get it back. And we'll see what the proof is tomorrow. So we're going to learn that Surba, we're going to learn the Navi here tomorrow at 7, and then Daf Yomi at 8.
Randy, you're going to the other side of town still before Shabbos?
Yeah, I'm going right now.
Here's a Porsche. Here's a Porsche. Of course.
With the Porsche.
I hope you got a helicopter. Okay.
See you guys.
Bye. Shkoyach.
Shabbos.